Well, welcome to the people who are watching this live, and welcome to the people who are gonna watch this when it's recorded, I guess, at some point, but are not gonna have like the chance to interact, which kind of sucks, but don't worry about it. I don't know if we got people watching live or not right now, but I'm gonna get started talking about the points very soon. I would just want to check, make sure that if you have questions and if you have suggestions and you want to just say hi and wave your hand, this is the place to be. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get started with what I wanted to talk about today. Yo, Riandis, how are you doing? Hola, hola, hola. So sorry, there's a little bit of a delay. I think that's on the nature of streaming and whatnot. But also, I think it's a delay programmed by OBS that I need to correct, but I didn't have the time to. But hey, Dennis at 4 a.m. So good to see you. Good to see you all. If you're watching this after the fact, when I post it on YouTube, don't worry, there'll be more. But welcome to everybody who's joining in right now. I wanted to talk about the revolution, the big R, capital R revolution, whatever that is, and how how to face it like right now in today. But I'm also gonna draw from an example of former revolutions or a former revolution that I'm very familiar with. So and I want to discuss with you people live, and I'm sorry for the people who are watching this recorded. I want to discuss with the people who are live right now. The yeah, the takeaways that we can study from former revolutions, and the differences that we need to point out towards making hopefully new revolution in the near future, or say push forward the revolution that is ongoing right now, because revolutions are not short bursts of heroic happenings that happen just out of the blue and happen in a few days, and then bah, it's over and we won and happily ever after, as the Hollywood stories told us, which is, I guess, something I'd like to point out as well. Like yeah, the we've been sold narratives that are like 1871. Yeah. I want to talk more about 1936, 1937, but 1934 actually to 1937. But let's not get ahead of things. And like history is a continuous flow of things. It's we've been sold the narrative, that the story has like three acts, and at the end there's a happily ever after or whatever. And that's one of the many things that we got to deconstruct in our melons here. Like say, yo, maybe that's not the way things are. Like if you observe real life, right? Yeah, it's like the hurricane recovery: long, dirty, frustrating, miserable, but necessary. Definitely, definitely. It's it's on one hand, it's breaking with what we have, and on the other hand, it's yeah, it's doing like a reconstruction or building something new on top of what the old that didn't do as well. And I think it was Gramsci who said like the new world doesn't end up arriving, and the old world isn't done dying just yet. So I guess this is the time that we're living. The old world is dying, and the new world doesn't finish being born. Hola, Fiskifus. So, qué bueno verte. A ver si hacemos maldades pronto. Sorry about switching to Spanish, but I had to. It's Fiskifus. So, yeah. Revolutionary processes are long, are muddy. They take a lot of work. Oh, Freso! Got the Sedai! Hello! Oh man, so good to see you. So good to see you all. Yeah. Sorry for the people who are gonna watch this recorded. There'll be more. There'll be more of these in the near future, I guess, because yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about this and in a non-scripted way. Like, scripts are nice, but they're not my forte. And sometimes you gotta talk things honest, and just as they come. So, yeah, and Franglish, good to see you as well. Yeah, it's it's complicated. Things we tend to analyze things in the same way as we analyze narratives from Hollywood, which is like the common brainwash we're used to have. Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it, Dennis. Yeah, I'm Spanish. I'm not supposed to apologize, but I apologize because mismatches with language, they're not the nicest thing in the world. So why not? Doesn't hurt. So yeah, I was talking about the revolution being a long ass process that takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of people to do it. And that's probably what could be one of our main focuses right now is gathering numbers, gathering more people, educating. But also, there are many ways to do a revolution, and they're specific to the place where you're doing the revolution, but also to the time that you're doing the revolution, but also to what you want to do with your revolution. What do you where you go? What do you want to get? What do you want to change? What do you want to improve? And that's one of the things that we need to really, really think about really hard and talk about with people. We need to talk with other people about what we want to change in our world. Hola, Johnny Desu. And we need to really talk to the people around us and organize with the people around us. And one of the revolutions the revolution that I wanted to talk about is the Anarchist Revolution in Spain in 1934 to 1937, more or less, which was incredibly successful. And it was incredibly successful despite of the awful conditions, considering that we had a repressive right-wing government going against the anarchists, and afterwards we had a coup d'etat and a civil war, and it was brutal. And even despite all of those things, companies managed to work, farms managed to exist very well, and work. Everything worked just fine. It took a lot, but it wasn't something that just happened in 1934. It's something that started boiling from the say 1910s, 1920s, since the first people who were reading Proudhon and even like the Bakunin or even Kropotkin himself, who was praising the goodness of the Spanish anarchists. But it's not about affiliation. It's not about the anarchist here and the socialist there. It's not incompatible, and it's definitely start with the idealized solution to the problem, and then create solutions to it with the ideal solution in mind. Yeah, definitely. It's envisioning where we want to get. We want to make what's the new world that we want there to happen, like the new world that we carry in our hearts, like Buenaventura Durruti used to say. And one of the things that that really gets into my head all the time is like, what kind of people do we want to be under this new world? What kind of persons do we want to be under this new world? And one of the things that I've been that always, always that I go back to the 1930s anarchist revolution in Spain. One of the most impressive things, besides the organization, besides all of the spectacular stuff, was the human component of it, and it was an incredibly human component to the anarchist revolution in Spain. And it's something that many people from all kinds of tendencies really, really got aboard with it and agreed to it. It was a very it was a model based on solidarity, of compassion, based on sharing, based on generosity, and based on undoing all of the patriarchal and oppressive models that we had in Spain. It's in a Spain that was coming from having very disturbing history, with absolute rulers, like between kings and dictators. It didn't help. And the nobility of the thoughts of those people, how those people were thinking about getting rid of all of the negative stuff that was going on back in the day. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we can take from that revolution, in a way that we want to make a revolution that helps people, that a revolution that really is into helping people. So I'd like to go back into the values, the philosophical values, kind of the abstract, the humanistic value to it. Y está aquí Kevin. Here is Kevin Logan, who is hanging in the chat, who's gonna post a P word in it. I dare you. Please do. Feel free. Now, I wanted to talk about those values, about the anarchist revolution. I want to play something for y'all. And I hope you enjoy what you see. It's a very important speech by Juan García Oliver. He made it in 1937. So the war was raging, and Juan García Oliver was a minister under the last government of the Spanish Republic. The Second Spanish Republic was a very diverse republic. Must not be treated as because it had governments of left and right, moderates and extreme right wing, like the CEDA, the one before the last government of the republic. There you go. The pins, pensy, pensies. So we had like this terrible government called the CEDA, and it was a coalition of right-wing parties that really did a number on the major striking and organizing forces that were happening in anarchist Spain in the 1920s and 30s. So that was a terrible government, and it happened during the Second Spanish Republic. So it's not a uniform thing, And there was horrible repression towards miners. The miners who made like a revolution in Asturias, who are still, still nowadays, the mining workers in Asturias are considered like the most badass people that you can, the most best organized, the ones that make like the best, riots, and police don't dare touch those motherfuckers, and because they know what they're doing, right? So I'm gonna play this to you all very soon. Here he is, Juan García Oliver. Juan García Oliver was a minister of justice during the last government. So after that really shit right-wing government, we had a big issue with that government, and people outvoted that government en masse, and basically because the CNT joined forces to win the electoral process and say, okay, let's, and it was a coalition of different parties. And it was before the whole, before, the whole two-party systems and whatnot, right? So yeah, and we had a big coalition of left-wing parties, and it was like the decisive move was because the CNT, who there was like a movement, the CNT and the AIT were hugely organized. So this comes from even before the Republic. This comes from even in the 1920s, and it comes from people organizing way before a revolution happened. And it's one of the things that I think most of us are banging everyone in the head all the time, like go organize, organize. Because when you organize, you're preparing, for a revolution. Most efficient revolutions happen when there's a natural crisis of the status quo, but people are already ready and organized. They have food banks. They have all the unions that need to be put in place to get like workers councils in companies, to make people who know how to work, how to operate before things happen. And that's the stage where what we're at. In all of your countries, you gotta have an organization of people who are already working on it. And if not, well, do one, but really get organized in your workplace and out of your workplace, and work in those values that are like solidarity and like sharing resources. I'm gonna play this for y'all so you can see. This is the discourse from Juan García Oliver. This is a speech he did in 1937, and there are English subtitles here at the bottom of the screen. No, it's the other finger here. These, yeah. So I'm gonna play this, and let's see what you think. Okay.
Nuestro grupo anarquista se formó el año 1923. En circunstancias muy aciagas para nuestro movimiento, muy tristes para toda la clase trabajadora. Dueños casi de la ciudad eran las bandas de pistoleros del Sindicato Libre que patrocinaba la patronal, las hordas policiales. Coadyuvaban a la obra de destrucción de nuestras organizaciones y de nuestros hombres. Había caído el coloso del anarcosindicalismo, Salvador Seguí. Habían caído viejos militantes, primeros hombres de nuestro movimiento tan espléndido de hoy. Cuando comprendimos nosotros que probablemente pudiera llegar el momento de que fuésemos absolutamente vencidos, nos unimos en aquel momento, lo que no tengo vergüenza en decir, lo que tengo orgullo.
Yeah, I'm definitely muted. Thank you. So yeah, there was like these gangs of gunmen that were hired by the owner class, by the the bourgeoisie. Basically, it was more or less like the Pinkertons, and this was like in the 1920s. So there was like a dictatorship going on. I'm gonna adjust the screen so you can read the whole subtitles. Sorry about this. This is not very good framing. The subtitle quality is, let's see, we've seen better. yeah, it's incredibly like wide format, and the video is very square. So there's that. Shit. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna keep it running like that. I'm gonna rewind and do every subtitle by itself because it makes no sense for real. Yeah, the quality of these subtitles is less than optimum, let's say. But I'm gonna read out. Our anarchist group was founded in the year 1923.
Nuestro grupo anarquista se formó el año 1923 en circunstancias muy
In circumstances that were very bad for a movement, very sad for the whole working class.
aciagas para nuestro movimiento, muy tristes para toda la clase trabajadora. Dueños casi de la ciudad.
And the pistoleros of the Sindicato Libre, which is like it's a fucking joke, this thing. Sindicato Libre is like free union, and it's definitely not a free union. You know, is that the way that fascists operate? Like they take the name and they subvert it to their own bullshit. Sponsored by the bourgeoisie. We're almost owners of the city. We're talking of the city of Barcelona.
Eran las bandas de pistoleros del Sindicato Libre que patrocinaba la patronal. Las hordas policíacas.
The police hordes contributed to the destruction of our organizations and our men.
Coadyuvaban a la obra de destrucción de nuestras organizaciones y de nuestros hombres. Había caído el coloso del anarcosindicalismo.
Salvador Seguí, the titan of our anarcho-syndicalism, had fallen.
Salvador Seguí. Habían caído viejos militantes, primeros hombres de nuestro movimiento.
All militants, the first men of our so splendid movement today, had fallen.
Tan espléndido de hoy, cuando comprendimos nosotros.
When we thought that the moment of being completely defeated was probably coming, and this is incredible because it seems like a violent fight, but what this is motivated from it's all, solidarity with your comrades. It's all about the union of people and the understanding that people need to be protected, and these people were ready to sacrifice themselves by fighting these armed gangs,
Que probablemente pudiera llegar el momento de que fuésemos absolutamente vencidos.
So they could be defeated.
Nos unimos en aquel momento.
We united in that moment. We, who I have no shame in saying. We, who I have pride in confessing.
Lo que no tengo vergüenza en decir. Lo que tengo orgullo en confesar. Los reyes de la pistola obrera de Barcelona.
The kings of the working class pistol in Barcelona. And this is like, it if you take it out of context, it looks like he's bragging about being a gunman, about being armed. But what you got to understand is that these people are actually pacifists, and the movement itself is absolutely pacifists. What these people are, they're not gun crazy, gun loving people. They're people who are pacifist and are pushed by a circumstance to ditch the pacifism that they have and ditch it, to defend themselves against these other gunmen who were hired by the bourgeoisie and who have been, systemically pushing. It does ring a bell, right? Systemically pushing against, the people and having oppression being the normal. The normal is being fucked by these people. So, yeah, let that sink in, I guess.
Vivíamos y actuábamos disgregados, pero hicimos una selección.
We lived and acted disunited, but we made a selection. That's, by practicing. They were organizing, and the best or the most suited for joining, for making that group, were organizers within workers' movements.
Los mejores terroristas de la clase trabajadora.
And I love this sentence: the best terrorist of the working class, because terrorist is it's a word that carries a significance, but that significance has been perverted by the mainstream bullshit, because terrorism doesn't have to be evil, and in this case the word terrorist is used against those in power, the ones who supposed to feel terror, not the people. And that's a key thing, you know. It's those thugs that they were hired to hunt them down, basically, were the ones who were afraid. And that's the working class terror, right? So the ones who could best return punch by punch and deliver the final victory to the proletariat.
Los que mejor podían devolver golpe por golpe. Y al llegar al fin la victoria al proletariado, nos separamos de los demás compañeros.
So we split from the other comrades. We united and we formed an anarchist group.
Nos unimos y formamos un grupo anarquista, un grupo de acción para luchar.
A group of action to fight against the pistoleros, against the bourgeoisie, and against the government.
Contra los pistoleros, contra la patronal y contra el gobierno. Conseguimos nuestro objetivo. Les vencimos. Nuestros golpes fueron más duros.
We achieved our target. We won. We landed our target, and our punches were harder, more towards the head than theirs. They were more effective, and then they put some work into it. Okay, this guy is saying this while being a minister of justice in the at the time falling government of the Second Spanish Republic, like in 1937, in the middle of the war that resulted in the coup d'état, which is it was a war of extermination. It's one of the false rhetorics that are thrown out all the time, is that there was a civil war and that both sides were equal, and that's an absolute lie.
Más a la cabeza que los que ellos nos habían dado. Y el grupo se constituyó y fue juramento.
And the group was formed, and it was an oath of those who joined it.
De los que lo integraron, de que desde aquel momento,
that from that moment on, our group, Los Solidarios, that was later gonna call they.
El grupo Los Solidarios que nos llamábamos, continuaría la lucha hasta el triunfo.
We'd continue the struggle until the total triumph of the working class, until the triumph of the social revolution, and that only death could separate us. That's an oath of loyalty, but not to each other, which as well to each other, not just to each other, but also to the liberation of the working class. And he keeps saying the working class. There's a fundamental Marxist analysis and observation of the conditions of 1920s Spain and 1930s Spain. Take into account that Spain back in the day used to be like a very agrarian society. The Industrial Revolution skipped the country because of the selfish and brutal, absolutely monarchs, and autocrats that were ruling the country with iron fist for centuries. So, yeah.
Triunfo total de la clase trabajadora, hasta el triunfo de la revolución social, y que solamente la muerte podía irnos apartando de los demás. Cayó primero el camarada Eusebio en Asturias.
Again, the Asturias, first one to fall was Comrade Eusebio in Asturias, and it was the Asturias revolts. It was like they were expecting comrades from all over the rest of the country to join them, and it didn't happen because it was expected to be like a revolution. It was one of the, and that's one of the keys as well. Yeah, when you're thinking of having or making a revolution, changing the conditions around you, changing the world around you. When you're thinking about that, it's key that that you may make several failed attempts before it happens. You just you gotta keep on fighting. That's the key. You gotta keep on fighting. You gotta keep on trying. Learn from the mistakes and keep on trying.
Cayó también el camarada Torín en Barcelona.
Comrade Torín also fell in
El
Barcelona.
camarada Soler Biela.
The one that they couldn't, Soler Biela. It was, let me pull it up. He was an anarchist from this group, Los Solidarios, and it was where is he? Yeah, because we had it was Joan García Oliver speaking here, but it was Buenaventura Durruti, Francisco Ascaso, Antonio Ortiz Ramírez, but there was and Torres Escartín was there as well. So
El camarada Torres Escartín. El
Escartín
dolor del presidio de los pavos
were in prison, not killed, but suffered a big deal.
Cuando después de la República.
And when we, after the Republic was established, came out of the prisons and united once again in Spain, like they were imprisoned for decades. I mean, their sentence was decades. They were in prison for years, and then the Republic came, and there was an amnesty, and these people were released. And what's the point? What was the point? Because the struggles kept coming, and there was another revolution in Asturias, and it they kept on coming because conditions were so bad, even after the Republic was declared, which was indeed an improvement, but not enough.
Salimos de los presidios y nos unimos otra vez en España, continuamos el grupo y entonces nos llamamos el grupo nosotros,
Us.
los que no tenemos nombre, los que no tenemos orgullo.
And it was renamed to us. Us, those of us who don't have a name, us who don't have a pride. And not having pride means, taking... It's getting rid of your ego. It's working towards the betterment of everyone, It's stopping being selfish, and it's one of the things that we need to talk about.
Los que somos una masa, los que pagaremos uno a uno.
We who are a mass, we who will pay one by one.
Nosotros
Us.
tenemos una deuda.
We have a debt.
La deuda la pagó Durruti.
Durruti paid for that debt, and that's because it's this. I assume this is during Buenaventura Durruti's funeral. Well, he suffered an accident, and he died.
Por la revolución y en honor a su compromiso.
For the revolution and in honor to his commitment. Again, it's about having a fallen comrade who was very popular and having him celebrated and say, this keeps going, people. Let's not stop.
Los que quedamos de nosotros,
Those of us who are left,
el tiempo lo ha ido afirmando.
time has been
No es
proven.
una prueba de un día ni de un año.
It's not a test of one day or a year.
Es una prueba de años.
It's a test of many years. It was
Han
paid.
ido pagando. Han ido cumpliendo.
It's been accomplished.
Durruti cumplió.
Durruti did his duty. That kind of rhymes.
Y los que quedan de nosotros,
And we who are still here,
la
we will
muerte
also
no es nada.
do our duty.
Nuestras
Death is
vidas
nothing. Our individual lives are nothing, and that's the key. It's not about me; it's about us. And it sounds like a cliche, but it's a matter of fact that we need one. And one of the things that that when we talk about solidarity as this magical word, it's about forgetting about me and my fucking belly button, and start thinking about us. Start thinking about others who are oppressed systemically, and about solving those systemic problems that we have, and saying, okay, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're facing. So what are we gonna do with this, right?
Por eso somos nosotros. Mientras quede uno, nosotros vivimos.
That's why it's us. While there's one of us left, we'll keep on going. That's all. Yeah, there you go. So this is what I wanted to show you, and there's a big context for this, which I'm gonna add the chat over here. Which need to add the chat. But yeah, I hope you're following more or less what I'm trying to say. Yeah, thank you, River Ransom. Yeah, this speech is wow. It's absolute wow. Yeah, there. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So that was Juan García Oliver. There you go. That's a little bit better. Now I'm gonna move myself a little bit too. There you go. So that was Juan García Oliver. He was a minister of justice during the 1930s. And I wish I could play like some of the... because there's a lot of material in Spanish about this revolution, right? But what I'm trying to get from here, it's about the mindset that would make good revolutionaries. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Spanish that I would love to go on and translate, you know. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can pull something up, but it's I need to do a little bit more homework. But I need to do a little bit more homework. But I could try and pull some pieces of speech from one of our ministers, of our most valuable ministers. Yeah, no, this is about the other. It was Federica Montseny, who was another anarchist minister. We had like anarchist ministers, which is fantastic, I guess. And you know, Federica Montseny was Minister of Education and Healthcare, I guess. If I'm not mistaken, I'm talking about off the cuff. But if you hear that lady speaking, she's not a woman of many words, but the few things she says, she's amazing. She was amazing. And you know, it's all about making a revolution. It's about try to dismantle what is old, what is making us harm. Try to disarm it, unravel it, keep the good things, and build new things instead. One of the things that happened during this anarchist revolution is people kept when the revolt happened, right? Yeah, that was River Ransom. Our anarchist ministers happened during the Second Republic. It was a government that lasted only 1 year, because there were several governments in the Second Republic of Spain that were, let's say, involved in the republic that were happening. Some of them were moderate left wing, some or progressives, and there was the one before the last was awful. It was a far right coalition, basically. It was awful. I don't know if there's people watching from the United States. You don't really get that much because it's basically a two-party system. But sometimes, you know, quote unquote democracies, they get like you get to choose between many different parties that have actual options, and sometimes coalition governments happen, and that's what happened in the Second Republic. Before the last government, there was this awful right wing, very oppressive, very awful government, and then, you know, after we dealt with that government and it was outvoted with the help of the CNT, that was massive back in the day. I'm gonna drink a little bit. The CNT was massive in the 1930s in Spain. It moved literally millions of people who were organized. And when the coup d'etat happened and war exploded all over, there was a revolution in many places in Spain. Not all over Spain, but in many places in Spain, and includes the city of Barcelona, but includes many villages and many localities that happened to go full anarchist. And what happened was basically people were trying their best to first. There was two basic fronts. One of them was education, re-education, and well, I'm getting ahead of myself. After that awful right wing government, and before the coup d'état, we had like a coalition government of many left wing forces that was in power, and that's how we got, because of thanks to the CNT giving like basic like the decisive support for this government to run, even when the president of the republic was a moderate leftist, like a social democrat type. But many ministers, we had like 3 or 4 ministers, I think, that were actual anarchists from the CNT, and they instituted like a lot of good. They did like a lot of good reforms, and that's like when I see the online discourse bullshit about reform versus revolution, it's like, why not both? And it sounds like unrealistic, but this is what happened in Spain. In Spain, the anarchist movement got so massive that it was decisive in the election of this last government that lasted just 1 year, because the coup d'etat happened. It was supposed to last the full term. I think it was 4 years by then as well. And but it never happened because it was broken because of the fascists. But that was an opportunity as well, because some revolutionaries took matters into hands, and many big many populations. It's like the country was divided between the people, because the owners ran away when they were kicked out because of the revolution, and then the people got organized and run things on their own. And what they found out is that they could run things on their own, not a problem, without the help of the bourgeoisie or the state or the armed forces. They could run their own companies. They could run, in the case of the countryside, they could run the farms even more efficiently. And there was suddenly bread for everybody. And it was crazy, because it was a time where in Spain there was a lot of famine. It was a very backwards country, even though the 1931 constitution of the Second Republic was one of the most advanced in its time. It's like we look at it now and it's like kind of basic, but for 1931 it was like, whoa, okay, in terms of human rights it was huge. I mean, women were allowed to vote for the first time in Spanish history. And because first nobody was allowed to vote, and in the First Republic I think only men could vote. And there was like a campaign of scholarization. They were teaching women to read, which is something that we take for granted right now. But in Spain in 1930s, it was crazy shit. So the educational front was huge. People were learning. People were being educated, but not indoctrinated in a way like these schools. There are testimonies of these teachers who were saying we never taught Bakunin or Kropotkin, or we never taught them. And there were I remember those interviews saying like el Bakunin, el Kropotkin. They said we never indoctrinated something like that. We just taught people basic culture, basic reading, writing, and math, and the basic shit, and also carrying it with a lot of humanity and decency. So when the more human, the more decent, the more generous people are, in general, the easier it is to make a revolution. Because there's gonna be people who are gonna do the rough parts, all the arming themselves and everything. But what's left behind all of the front lines is the most important part, which is the new society that needs to be formed. And that is something that in this example that actually worked, despite of the war machinery and the intervention of Germany and Italy that were like key to, and then the Soviet Union, who were ordering to shoot anarchists. People were like, if you hear testimonies from people who were there, they say like we were shot in the back. Our people were shot in the back, those are people who were, not able, who were not comprehending how they were even able to make it, but they made it. They escaped, but there was basically an extermination ordered from the Soviet Union to extinguish the anarchist revolution instead of working with it. So I would say Spain is basically culturally very anarchist, but we had 40 years of Francoism, and when the quote-unquote civil war, which was an extermination war, the Francoists and the fascists made sure they killed or exiled everyone who was not agreeing with their bullshit. So we ended up with a broken country that was basically purged of progressives, which is a very, very fucked up thing to have. So going back to the topic of the revolution or what's different right now, I think one of the key things that are different right now, first is the nature of communications, which is funny because, one of the things that were surprising that people point out from the Spanish Revolution, it's like during the Second Republic, there were more anarchist newspapers that were right-wing newspapers. Only anarchist. I mean, if you count a few communist newspapers that were out as well, but it was so huge. Everybody was making, a paper or an independent gazette. Everybody was trying to put their own media out, sending, messages that educate the people into the anarchist values and whatnot. Now, I'm not saying let's do full anarchist this time around, because I think this time around it's a little bit different. But one of the things that we could extrapolate, let's say, it's like, how many, I don't know, YouTube, Twitch channels, TikToks we have, of people sending progressive messages in general. I'm not going to brand them whatever brand, because fuck the brands, And if you examine the speeches of anarchists in this era of 1930s, it was extremely, extremely Marxist rhetoric. So, it's not self-exclusive. It's not like they want to sell us the brand anarchist and the brand communist or ML are mutually exclusive. It's like, no, I don't think so. You can be a little bit of both, and it's the healthiest thing to be, is a little bit of both, because these are schools of thought and applied to societies. It's extremely complicated, right? It's extremely complicated, complex, let's say, not complicated. I mean, yeah, both complicated and complex. And there's no one brand, one solution that fits exactly. No individual and that, has a little bit of a brain mass in them, or let's say is relatively free from utter denial and despair. I think one of the mistakes and one of the things that we need to fight in this cultural battle that we have right now, because it's not that we're fighting it, it's that it's being fought against us and we're not doing much about it, which is fucked up. But one of the things that we should, take into account is that our common sense, our very our very way of understanding the world is competitive, is related to brands. We figure out our political tendencies as if they were brands. Like I'm an anarchist TM, or a communist TM, or a vegan TM, or call it what you want. Posadist. No, posadist is full TM. Sorry. I don't understand posadism, to be honest. It sounds like a joke, like the dolphins and the UFOs and stuff. Yeah. This being said, yeah, I mean, we have to be scientific about it, but we also have to take feelings into account, and we also have one of the things that has changed dramatically is the weapons of the enemy. The weapons of the enemy could be like mass media. Yeah, material conditions. No one ideology is universally effective, but I would say in time and in space and in time. And right now, our enemy is a little bit, it's, yeah, we're facing giant corporations, conglomerates, brands. The fact that capitalist realism is out there, and we need to undo capitalist realism. Like the best of possible worlds and the end of history bullshit. Which is, I mean, Francis Fukuyama is thoroughly being ridiculed by everyone, out there functionally. So good. It's one step, but I would say we need to do better. We need to go further into dismantling capitalist realism. Capitalist realism is pervasive. It's really, really toxic, really bad. So that would be something that would be worth exploring, I would say, right? And what else? The way our media is structured right now. I'm broadcasting right now in an extremely capitalist platform. Platforms and apps, and the app economy and the way things are structured with platforms is incredibly pervasive as well and toxic. Platforms like Twitter makes us be shitty and snappy towards other people, makes us being competitive. It's bullshit. Share your success and be glad by the success of others, because other people being successful is always good news. It's like, fuck that shit, of being envious of others and bullshit like that. That's really awful. It's really, really awful. We should really not do that. So I don't know. I don't know what you'll think about this, but I think the enemy is fundamentally different right now. In its methods, not in the the sauce of the thing, like the class oppression is there. We also have the thing of intersectionality, that I agree. Many Marxist analysis points out that all of those oppressions are there to justify class, which is where everything stems from. I would say yes. Maybe it's even older. Like before capitalism, we had serfdom and different other forms of domination, for which I would go back to the anarchist thought of any oppression is unjustified hierarchies and is therefore in a nutshell bad. But yeah, it's complex, and complex problems require complex solutions. And one of the things about intersectionality, in my opinion, is that it doesn't take us to the origin of things, of course, but it takes us to the solution of things, in a way that those many oppressions are instrumental to class oppression. And when we undo the economic part, or say because socio-economic part of class, we need to deal with the other social issues as well. Otherwise, we're at better risk of going back to the old ways. And this comparison, this behavior, like things were a bit of a pendulum. But it's true that when you pull a society towards one direction, it's expected to have like a backlash, to have like a little bit of lag. Because societies are complex. There are huge amounts of people out there who we need to really convince. And not only convince, but seduce. And it's not a nice thing, to say, let's seduce the people, the masses. Let's seduce the masses. But alas, we have to. It's not nice. I love to convince people and say, yo, this is the facts, this is how it plays out, and I propose this solution, and those people say, yeah, I'm on board. like rationally and shit. But we're also motivated, heavily motivated by feelings, and we're also heavily motivated by rhetorics. Yeah, intersectionality includes class by all means. I think it's, I think class by itself, it's a great analysis to see the origin of things. Like when you read, Das Kapital and whatnot, and you study capitalism and say, okay, this comes from the fact that these people need to be parasites. And when these people need to be parasites and are successfully parasites, and behave like that, then you got it, right? That's the way of things. But also, let's say, also the fact that these people have been parasites are working parasites who work towards, their own subsistence as parasites. It's one leg of the problem. The other leg is, what are we going to do with our lives? How are we going to provide better for people? How are we going to try for this to never happen again? All this bullshit of trans hatred, transphobia, sexism, racism, ableism, name it. Speciesism, motherfuckers. I know many people don't care about speciesism, but it's more or less, it feeds the same bullshit oppression, and it's strictly linked with, let's say, climate change and the whole capitalist system of the capitalist way of thinking, making others into things so we can exploit. We have a moral justification to do the exploitation bullshit, right? So that, I think that's one of the basic legs of our revolution. Is it must be education. It must be, it must be sharing ideas, not for the sake of sharing ideas and being a nerd, which I respect being a nerd, and we need our nerds out there, mostly our theory nerds, being all theory loaded with all the good stuff so we can learn from them. But yeah, after AI destroys half of humanity and enslaves the other half, we won't have to worry about any of this. Yeah, why wait for that? Why wait for that? Why wait for that? Why should we wait for that? Why can't we teach AI the ways of anarchism, the ways of communism? Why can't we teach AI that we can do better? If we teach AI capitalist realism, AI is going to destroy us. But that's capitalist realism operating in our heads as well. Like, why can't AI learn, this fictional AI, learn about caring for others? Why can't AI be you? Sorry about the Cure joke, but yeah, I mean, it's not about the tool; it's about what we do with it, right? Gonna position this a little bit better. Who? Now we're in Twitter. So yeah, I would stop wanting to work for us. Yeah, I mean, work is a little bit overrated. I would like to see a Star Trek, But, going back to the subject of revolution, and yeah, I'm gonna transition back to camera. We'll do this later. I'm gonna go back to revolution. But, I think education is basic. Also, being well armed is basic, because the capitalists are not gonna stop for anything and for anyone, Yeah, Why Can't I Be Used? A nice song. I like The Cure. They're nice. They're nice to listen to. I wouldn't say I listen to them every day, but they're really cool. And they have the happiest happy songs and the saddest downers ever. It's like you could go either way, all the way up, all the way down. But absolutely being organized is key for a good revolution, and being and not forgetting what we want to do, which is to liberate people. If we don't work towards liberating people, and if we make a revolution about, being on top, I want to be the Khalifa instead of the Khalifa, then we're fucked. Then we haven't done shit. So our revolution needs to be about liberating people, and we need to keep that goal in, because when we are able to transmit that in a sufficient way that we're honest. It's not like we're trying to grift people into a revolution so we get on top. That's bullshit. Nobody should be on top. There should be people in charge, but people in charge need to be accountable. We can fire the shit out of those motherfuckers if they misbehave, if they steal a cent, if they harm people, if they fuck up. You need to be held accountable. And then, therefore, that would be like an actual democracy that we want to build, where the demos exerts the kratos, the demos being the people, and the kratos being the power to the people. It's something that's been said forever, and still, I don't know. And yeah, so that's more or less what I was wanting to talk about. So I'm gonna move a little bit. We've been going on for about an hour, which is good enough. But I'm gonna move it to Twitter now. See what's going on. They have good music and they seem nice. Yeah. I'm all for the Cure. Yertle the Turtle. Yeah, really, I mean, we can't make a revolution of assholes. We need to make a revolution of nice, wholesome people who care of other people. That's what I mean to say. Our revolution needs to help. How can we help? How can we help the people who are suffering right now? And another key that I want to talk about, and it's absolutely key, is that there are movements going on right now that are absolutely revolutionary, and that could be like spearheads that our revolutions can build upon. And it's different for every place. I would say that in the United States that would be Black Lives Matter, and I would say like the revolution in the United States should follow Black Lives Matter, should really band and gather around Black Lives Matter. I would say that the most important labor organization in the United States, which is the IWW, should really lean in with Black Lives Matter. And because defending the rights of the workers is key, but defending the rights of the downtrodden in society in general is even bigger and more powerful. That is not self-exclusive. It's not mutually exclusive. It's fine. Let's do all of it. Let's gather together and build those much needed mass movements. But it's not about, again, we need to really carry our culture with it. If we get a mass movement, but our mass movement is a mass movement of dickish, individualist, capitalist, realist bullshit, that's not even worth starting. So let's really get our shit together. That's what I'm saying. Not lose our goal, which is a better world where everybody can live in peace and harmony, and nobody has to go hungry, or nobody has to suffer because some motherfucker wants to be rich. Nobody, and that's another key point here. Nobody can become a millionaire by working hard. You become a millionaire by stealing the shit out of people. Mass theft is what makes you a millionaire, not to say billionaire. But only mass theft makes you a millionaire. That's because no matter how hard you work, how many units you can sell with your co-workers in your industry or your services, How much amount of services can you generate as an individual? It doesn't compute. You only become a millionaire when you own a company, when you're stealing wages from your workers, and you steal a little bit from this one, a little bit from this one, but when it's 1,000 workers in a company and you're stealing that many wages, then you got it. Then you give it to the financial bullshit, which is basically cocaine addicts printing printing money magically in a computer. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. For real. I mean, it's not real money. It's money from the future. And who's gonna have to pay that money from the future? Us idiots. Sorry, got a little heat up. But you know what I mean. It really infuriates me. You know, that fake ass money from those fake ass cocaine addicts. Fuck the financial economy. Fuck it. It's not worth it. It's fake money, and we are the ones who are gonna have to pay for it with our surplus value, with our taxes, and not even with our. I mean, not just the state taxes, but the taxes that we pay in overpriced fucking products. When first necessity products prices rise, it's because some fucking piece of shit from finance magic has said, yeah, we need to make money from the future. And where are the people paying money from who somebody made out of thin air in the 80s? Fuck that shit. Get that cocaine addict and get him a nice job in a kebab. Other things you can do in Minecraft, video game, a simulation. But put the motherfucker to work. A minimum wage. Expropriate everything. That's another of the key aspects of let's say today's revolution, should be expropriation. Expropriation is fucking key. Expropriation. And the end of financial products that make money out of the blue. And shutting down the FMI and the World Bank. The IMF, sorry. FMI, it says in Spanish. FMA. IMF and World Bank, shut them fuck down. And make them pay. Make them accountable for all the crimes against humanity they've been running all of these years. Because crimes against humanity, they don't prescribe, you know, they go on forever. So somebody, you know, a people's tribunal needs to make the IMF accountable for their crimes. So that would be a start, right? I don't know. Yeah, definitely. I mean, drugs. We'll talk about drugs some other day. But drugs are a problem with addiction, are a psychological, chemical problem. It's a health issue, not a social issue. And drugs are the drugs that are legal and or illegal are arbitrary concepts. You know, the thing that, for example, one of the things that makes me crazy is that the United States, who is supposed to, quote unquote, lead the scheduling of drugs worldwide, are Schedule 1 with marijuana, which is like ridiculous. It's a mild thing. Alcohol is way more dangerous than marijuana, and alcohol is legal. So fuck that shit. Or LSD. What motherfuckers? LSD with no side effects, no chemical side effects in the body. Something that you urinate and you're good to go. I mean, well, some of it stays in your bones and stuff, and it's a long story. But yeah, World Bank, IMF, shut them the fuck down and hold them accountable. So popular tribunal, you know, and sentence those responsible for each and every operation. And it'll be fine. Under the revolution, our justice system would be awesome. Restorative justice, you know. Not punitive. I mean, these motherfuckers should be liable for punishment, but we're not supposed to be those guys. Basically, we're not supposed to be those guys. We're not supposed to be those people. So, yeah, we're not supposed to be those people, and we won't be those people. We will do all the violence that is necessary if we need to fight, for freedom. As you know, as the Chilean protest chanted, las balas que nos tiraron van a volver, which I included in a song that made basically about those protests. In Chile, those protests need to be the leading edge of the revolution. In Spain, it has to be feminism. Feminism is really right now the spearhead. Black Lives Matter in the United States, Les Gilets jaunes in France. We need to really step up. Step up. No, the yellow vest not in Canada, because those are a bunch of Nazis, though. I hope. I don't know how things are in Canada, but how are things in your countries, though? I'd like to ask you, chat. How are things in your countries? How are, which would you think? What's your country? Where are you at? And what would you say is the spearhead that would initiate the revolution in your locality? Think about that and write in the chat if you can. And let me know, and we can analyze it. But more or less, few recommendations I'm making towards the revolution. Of course, the thing is more complicated, and this is just me, one guy talking. I'd love to have someone on the line at some point, but this just happened spontaneously. I needed to make this happen, so you know how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. I would say like our gulags would be really, really cool. Like something in between a hospital and a hotel. Something really nice. Our gulags would be like spa treatments, psychology, therapy. What we want the gulags to be so nice because we want our society, the actual world out there, to be even better, more wholesome. We need to really work with a vision of the world that we want to bring about in our heads and in our hearts, saying, okay, what do we want the new world to be? And I would say the new world would be nice. It wouldn't have to work if we don't want to, but work would be really nice. We wouldn't have to suffer. Considering all the automation that we have, we could develop all of the automation in the world, but automation that would be developed with an objective in mind, which is to liberate people, not to enslave people. Right now, the automation, automation is a tool. You can use it to liberate people or to enslave people. And right now, with the capitalist ideology, with capitalist goals, you want to make the most profit and exploit the few workers for the most margin, and go sniff your cocaine and fuck. I hate cocaine. It's like the rich man's. You want to make a new meme, Randy's? Okay, you just let me know. I don't know what the meme is about. No. But it's fucked up. Let's hit that Twitter, see what we have. Pilote, le journal qui s'amuse à réfléchir. Okay, this is from the Avengers. Oh, come, I lost it. Twitter being an asshole. Okay, don't worry about it. I haven't prepared anything. I know, Kevin, if you're still listening, I should prepare things, but like you do with the bookmarks and everything. But do you wear contacts or glasses? I don't wear neither yet. I could put some glasses, but that would be performative and it would be an idiotic move. And sorry about the ableist slur. It wouldn't be super smart. It wouldn't be. Terms MTF and FTM, I don't understand half of this stuff. Says sex work can't exist under socialism. What? Can labor exist under? Yes, then yes, call it. And it will. Yeah, duh. I mean, sex work is work. One of the... part of it is on fire. I want... Okay. I want a barn full of cats and sheep to hang out with. Yes. 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 Yeah. Furry friends. Part of it is on fire, part of it's been washed away and blown over. Has epidemic police violence and pandemic. What will start a revolution where I live? Apparently forcing drive-through that kitty places to close. What's up, Ida? What's up? What's up, Ida? Velkommen! Okay, we're doing a Twitter round. Quick Twitter round, okay? So, sex work can't exist under socialism, some people say. And this Loti Charlie, by the way, hello, Charlie, yo, what up? Makes a really good point. Yeah, of course it exists. It's fucking labor. What's the... I mean, there's sex work is an incredibly wide term. There's a lot of people. I mean, I like to me myself, and that's a shit take because it's an individual take. But I would say that me myself, I would say I envision like sex being like a free exchange between people who rub against each other. You know, like I would say like bonobos, but it's true that it's been observed that bonobo sex is also kind of transactional. But you know, you have that itch and you scratch against someone else and you have your fun and go be happy somewhere else. But it's true that the circumstances around us are not like that right now. You know, in a perfect world, yeah, but world is fucked up, and we have people, you know, who are tending to those difficult places in our society where sex actually helps and alleviates, and you know, and they get paid for the service because they do it, you know, as a service for people. So I would never individually use sex work, I guess. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Nah, because I don't even. But I personally, I'd like to get rid of my sexual drive altogether. So it doesn't bother me because of my depression and shit. Let's read you people. Unfortunately, a lot of neo-Nazis here. A lot of neo-Nazis in Canada. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. So Canada is like those northerner countries that have like very good PR, but then reality is a little bit more fucked up. I'm in my rural area. There's not very non-diverse, and the spear point in white rural areas would be different. Definitely, it would be harder to convince the masses here. The best I think I can do is organize my friends and operate on a smaller scale at first. Definitely, you know, taking like let's say like taking camaraderie and taking as an angle, you know, the race of I forgot the word. I had a brain fart. Sorry about that. Sex work during communism, it would be art. Yeah. Relationship will still exist. People will still have drive. Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm saying, you know, and you know, for me, sex work, the way I see it is like a little bit like social work. You know, it's a very specific way of social work, but it's still work. It's still labor. You know, and if those people are not suffering, and they shouldn't suffer in the first place. I mean, most of the suffering that's happening in the world of sex work right now, it's because of exploitation. It's models, you know, that human trafficking and all the inhuman shit that is happening in the prostitution rings is because of thugs. It's not because of the work itself. It's because that work needs to be chosen voluntarily, and then those other people are being abused and traumatized because of they take away their agency. That has nothing to do with the nature of sex work itself. So being things the way they are today, what we need to worry about as leftists about sex work, it's how can we help those people now? How can we help sex workers? How can we improve their conditions? And how can we help them as the human beings who they are? And how can we make them our comrades and say, of course you're welcome with us. Of course you're welcome with us. Of course we protect you, we respect you, and you are in our ranks. It's not so difficult. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know why this is even a conversation, if you know what I mean. It's so low a bar. Like, sex workers, of course, are part of our movement. Of course. It's a no-brainer. Comrades, dear comrades, it's a no-brainer. Sex workers are our comrades. Papá Noel ha muerto. What? Who? What? I don't get this joke. Sorry. Domenico Losurio, pensador, crítico, investigador de historia. So I'm gonna do just the ones in English, maybe. Oh, Silverface. World on fire. Pandemic. And unbaited. Fascism rising. Customer. What do you mean this coupon expired? Priorities. Yeah. Sex work, you got it. You got it, Ida. Sex work is work. And yeah, you're right, Franglish. It's because of prohibition. Yeah, I think it's something... that's one of the... I think that's one of the brainworms that were installed by us by religion, Sex being a taboo, and sex work being a taboo because it's related to sex, which is something that you should do privately and quote-unquote decently, which has nothing to do with actual decency, but the appearance of certain standards that were imposed by this or that church. I'm not going to say which one, because, Catholics do it, Protestants do it, Muslims do it. So it's religious thinking. That should be there in the Middle Ages, in that drawer, the typical drawer when you put all the stuff that you don't know what to do with, and that drawer stays closed forever because you don't want to open it because it's so messed up. That's where religious thinking should be right now. I mean, the way I see it, religion is like it's like your genitals, right? Everybody has them. I mean, some people have, like, say it's like it was some comedian who made this joke. But I think it's a good analogy. Like, it's like a penis. Some people have them. Some people don't have them. But you don't go shoving yours in somebody in everybody's face. You don't go do that. So, but I think religion, seriously, it's a very good thing to have for people who have them. It's optional. It's fine. You can live without being religious. But also, I think that religion is something that every religious person has a different understanding of religion, and has a different, like, say, like, everybody has a different mystical sense of the world, and so I would say trying to standardize that and trying to put that together in a unified ritual. It's like putting your finger inside somebody's very intimate sense of self, and trying to tamper with that very intimate part of their own self-expression. So, yeah, I mean, have your religion, have whichever cult you want to have. You follow it. A cult, not like a cult, but like, have whatever religion you want to have. Have your own self of magic and God and whatnot. Do it, absolutely. But just don't have that sense that religious thinking be standardized into something that would later want to take power and control everybody else. That's it's like power, you know. You have the power to do good things, but when you exert power on other people, you're basically screwing them up. So what's the point, right? Let's go through the chat. Yeah. I see. Yeah, that our societies are repressive. Cultures are repressive. Yeah, there's. Oh, sorry about this. I'm really. I don't wear glasses, but I kind of should. I think. Okay, probably listen to sex workers. All the sex workers want to decriminalization. Yeah, not legalization. Yeah, I hear you. It's the same with drugs. You know, it's not about treat things. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're against legalization because it would allow exploitative monopolies to form, right? Yeah. It's about, sex work under capitalism would be also exploitative because it's capitalism. It's exploitative. There would be a boss who wants to take a cut of your thing. Why can't you be an independent sex worker and get your whole wage for you, right? But it's the same in every job. Why are you paying a parasite who's there only owning shit? It's like, fuck you. We don't need you. We don't need our bosses. Not the boss, the guy who's organizing your work, but the guy who owns the shit and takes his cut and says fuck off. You wouldn't need those people. Actually, we would be better off without those people. That's what communism is all about, right? I would say socialism, but yeah. Keep on going. I'm drawing complete blank. Don't worry, Dennis. I feel you. Brain farts. I hear you so much. By the way, I didn't cook so well today. On a weird tangent. It was more basic. But that cream yesterday was good stuff. It was maybe too savory because I cooked with certain disdain. Like, just throw this there. Okay, weird tangent. Sorry about that. I was Catholic most of my life. I hear you, Riendis. Spain is Catholic as fuck. I was raised under Catholic culture even when I was an atheist since age 4. But, the culture permeates. Now I'm completely against organized religion. I hear you so much. I've been following Damon Garcia. Yeah, awesome comrade. Go follow Damon Garcia. He's a fantastic comrade, and he makes great content talking about the relation of religion with politics, which is fantastic. And he is religious and a wonderful person and a great comrade. And I'm send Damon a hug from me. Say Javi says big ass hug all the way, because I love the guy. Can I say? I have a parasocial absolute love for that comrade. Yeah, Unitarian Universalist. Wow, they handle the religious aspects in a universally holistic and careful manner. That seems like a very respectful way to approach religion. This Unitarian Universalist. For what you said, I don't know much about it, but yeah, that sounds very good. Anyway, moving on. When oligarchy post-Soviet Russia is more anti-Nazi than Germany. Also, what the fuck, Poland? What is this? It's a graph of the sorts. UN General Assembly resolution on combating the glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism, contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia. Okay. Voted in favor. All Latin America, all Africa, Russia, China, and all of Asia, almost all of Asia except for Japan. And then fucking European Union and the Nordic countries. And what the fuck, Poland? Because in Poland there's the peace. Peace is besides being actual peace, it's a shitty ultra Catholic proto-fascist party, or let's say neo-fascist party, that are in charge in the Polish government, who I would say I'm under the impression they stole the latest elections. They cheated, and it sucks. Poland is a beautiful country with beautiful people in it who are suffering from an epidemic of absolute filth in the form of fascism, who need to really, really, really get in shape. I'd like to get a Polish comrade on the wire one of these days, and yeah, because I know many activists there, because I used to live in Krakow for a couple of years. I know a lot of fantastic, amazing people, and I would say Krakow and Warszawa are not like the rest of Poland. I think most of our countries are having this problem in which, you know, the big cities, they're more progressive, and then the countryside, they get radicalized into the right wing because they don't give a fuck. And also on the countryside, like small towns are like their own little universes, and for some reason the most conservative people win in the countryside most of the time, with notable exceptions. I would say you do your research on the town of Marinaleda in Spain, which is fantastic. Marinaleda, M-A, I'm gonna put in the chat. Marinaleda. There. It's gonna arrive a little bit later for y'all. But yeah, Poland is doing great right now. Yeah. Fucking great. You made a jalapeno cheese sauce to dip taquifuegos. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh, I was a treat last night. It was so good. Yeah, it sounds so fucking good, Dennis. Oh my god, the poverty vegan. I hope you're releasing a new video soon. I like your stuff. The poverty vegan. Dennis at 4 a.m. runs this channel called the Poverty Vegan, and he teaches you how to, you know, do vegan recipes on a very, very, very low budget, and also one of the most wholesome comrades you can find around. So yeah, when oligarchic post-Soviet Russia is more anti-Nazi than Germany, also what the fuck Poland? It's so true. But yeah, the thing is, I want the Polish situation to be solved at some point in the future. It's all on the fucking Catholic Church, to be honest. Like when Poland was running under the communist brand. Oh shit, animal mistreatment. Sorry about that. Puppies at a construction site. That's an absolute palate cleanser. Puppies at a construction site playing with the sand and being super fucking cute. The puppers are very, very cute. Oh, damn. Yeah, being human is totally overrated. Yeah. Bernie Sanders. My heart is so big. I don't like the B word. I know it's not meant to be, but I'm not a big fan of the N word and the B word. I think it was you know, I think Public Enemy made a couple of really good songs in which, you know, it talks about the self-esteem of the black people in the United States. Why, you know, calling yourself N-word or B-word when you can be kings and queens, right? You can be greater. You know, you can treat yourselves with the respect that you deserve. What the fuck? But I understand, you know, the bantering and the joking around. I understand that. Okay, it's just, it feels a little bit like a missed opportunity. It feels like a missed opportunity, you know, to raise up that self-esteem, you know, of a population that's being so fucking oppressed. I have nothing. Yeah, it's the female for when I say the B word is the female for dog. I can say it in the context of Miles Davis' album Bitches Brew. But I don't like to refer a black woman as that word. When, they're full wonderful people. I don't know. It's not up to me really, but it feels wrong. For some reason, it feels wrong, and I say it with all humility and all empathy. It sucks, but yeah. I got stuff in Portuguese as well. Duas linhas de qualquer teórico sobre a raça. Você saberá que, para ser racista, a sua atitude não precisa ser internacional, deliberada ou refletida. Yeah, it's okay. Stuff in Spanish. I don't have that much stuff in English right now. It's funny. When I want to read stuff in English, a lot of stuff in Spanish happen. Okay, Emily Gorchensky is... I'm dying. What is this? Thinking about the obvious undercover cop at a protest who I called out and asked him to show me his quote-unquote Antifa card, and he said he had accidentally lost it. Was being serious. So if you hear Fox News say we have a membership cards now, I'm sorry. Anti-family. Yeah, that's a good one. Also, when I asked him, I pulled out my IWW card. Cool. Oh my glob. That was something. Dianne Feinstein in this clip represents the entire Democratic Party establishment from Obama to Biden, Harris and Pelosi. Fuck off and resign yourself slowly dying from climate change, because that's what our corporate owners want. Okay, let's play this clip, see what happens.
Go in and share this letter, and we're gonna do it all together. Yeah. Share it in front of Feinstein. We're asking her to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if
is
this
put
doesn't get turned
ourselves-
around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these
Guess what?
consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all
you know
for the
what's
people.
interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your
How old are
your
you?
job.
How old
I'm
are you?
16. I
Well,
can't
you didn't vote for me.
Well,
I'm 24.
It
It doesn't matter. We're the ones who's
Well,
going to be
words
impacted.
mean something.
It doesn't matter. We're going to be the ones who are impacted.
I understand that. I have 7 grandchildren. I understand it very well.
Senator, the cost of
And-
not taking this action is far higher than the cost of what the Green New Deal will be. And there
Here's
is
what-
enormous popularity for this bill around
Okay.
the whole country.
Here's
And we're
what
asking you to
we
be
are
brave and
proposing.
do this for us and for your grandchildren.
Get enough for everyone. I'm trying to do the best I can.
Bullshit.
Which was to write a responsible resolution.
Any plan that doesn't
has-
take bold,
Okay.
transformative action is not going to be what we need.
Well, you know better than I do. So I think one day you should run for the Senate.
Piece of
And let
shit.
you do it your way.
Piece of shit.
In the
By
meantime,
that time, there's
I
going to be a
just,
big problem.
I just
have a
won a
letter
big
for you.
election.
Oh, you won the election. That gives you... what a spineless piece of shit. What a spineless piece of shit. Holy shit. What a spineless piece of shit. Fuck these... Yeah, you're too young to vote. Nye, 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 nye. Pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. Pieces of absolute shit. Spineless collaborators. Spineless, sold out pieces of shit. They think they're better than us. They think they're better than us. They think they're better than us. Pieces of shit. The political class, the senators, the nobility. Pieces of absolute shit. Fuck these people. Wah, fuck these people. What? They're riding a wave of cruelty, of suffering. They're throwing the whole planet to the trash bin. They're gonna have future generations live in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. Fuck these spineless people. They think they're better than everybody else. And everybody else needs to show them how much they're not better than everybody else. How much they're in the wrong. How much they need to be accountable for their shit. Pieces of shit. Spineless pieces of shit. Spineless pieces of shit. Sorry about the emotional outburst. But I'm going to try to calm down right now. I'm going to eating Cheez-Its while I'm listening. There you go. This is a happy ska taco. Okay, ska taco was a good palate cleanser, I think. Mel is being cozy, and we love her. Mel, you're awesome through and through. And let's see more news. There's not much going on. So I'm gonna, let's see. Iranzu Varela is a feminist journalist who is through and through awesome as well. But she, most of the stuff she does in Spanish and a little bit in Euskara. I don't think she's in the English thing, but who puts names on generations? Let me see. Okay. Okay, Nega, who's a rapper. I'm telling you, they named mine X. Yeah, mine too. Same as I. Wah! Yeah. Generation X. I mean, I wish we had like superpower, like the X people. More Spanish stuff. And somebody who's being fetishistic about bottle. It makes you happy. Cool. Earlier in the day, Jeffrey Ackert called in his own arson. What? He even filmed it itself at the Fires on Facebook live stream. After questioning him, the Puyallup Police Department arrested him on suspicion that he started the fires. Shit. People are really fucked up. People are really fucked up. It's this system really chugs. Oh shit. Vad bra vår planet mår. Ja. Ikke sånn. Shit. Yeah. Forest fires suck. Because burning, the trees that are trying to hold up the carbon. It's not that, many people don't talk. I mean, everybody talks about the carbon, which is fucked up, but the fucked up, more fucked up thing that is, sorry, haven't been paying attention to the chat. Perfect. Well, yeah. Yeah. You're right, Franglish, that we shouldn't expect much from wealthy bourgeois politicians. We shouldn't have wealthy bourgeois politicians. There you go. We should extinguish the bourgeoisie. We should extinguish class relationship. There'll be people who earn more or less money, have more or less goods, personal property. But everyone on their own, but no class relationships. Nobody should own the means of production. Everybody should own the means of production with their co-workers. So when I work in a company, I earn a chunk of the company with my co-workers. There's not that figure of the owner. That's what extinguished the bourgeoisie is. It's like, shut the fuck up and make yourself useful. there would be no landlords. If you have 2 or 3 houses, you're not allowed to rent them, the motherfucker. So you either sell them or expropriate. Companies, there cannot be companies dedicated to real estate. Real estate is a scam. Real estate is a necessity. It's as if I start raising the price of bread. As if I have I start competing with others to raise the price of bread. I create a common sense in which the bread prices only get on the rise all the time. And please invest in bread because people gotta eat, right? And it's very fucked up what they do in food distribution already. But if you do it, and it's a first necessity, and they are more or less regulated here and there. But what's happening with real estate is that it's a created necessity, if you know what I mean. Real estate, everybody needs a place to live. Everybody needs a place to work. Everybody needs a place to do their thing, right? I think I made a video about it back in the day in Spanish. But I'm going to put it like in a nutshell. Everybody needs a place to live, a roof over their heads. If it's not provided on the cheap, and those prices are inflated as fuck, artificially. When there's more empty houses than homeless people, we have a problem. We do have a problem. And it's called capitalism. Fuck this system. Fuck this system of production. I'm all for anarchist thinking, but I also need that as of today, we need a state that is just different. We can only imagine states that are like oppressive and shitty. And there are other ways to form a state that is dedicated to serving instead of oppressing, right? That is accountable, where a state official can be caught in doing something wrong and be fired immediately, and be replaced by someone who's being voted. Everybody gets voted. It's not like you vote some representatives who choose who they want in office. Fuck that shit. You're hired for the job, and you're elected for the job by the people, as many times as is needed. And if you fuck up, you're fired, and it's fine. You can find another job somewhere else, doing something else. But it's not about the acquisition of power. It's about serving the people, making the lives of the people better. What the states that we have right now are doing is serving the interests of the ruling class, of the bourgeoisie, basically, of the owners, of the big owners, the big billionaires, multinational corporations, you name it. But there is a way to form a state that serves the people. So, when we have something like that, it's a state that is handling real estate, and it's handling real estate on the cheapest ever price, where you don't even have to own a house or rent a house. You can just stay in a house where you live. And if you want an extra house, then you buy that shit. But your first living space where you live, where it's demonstrated that you live, you get for free, motherfucker. No, I mean, it's not yours, but you're allowed to live in it. And it belongs to everybody, to the state, which is accountable to everybody. It's not a state of oppression. Again, it's a state of service. So, real estate market is a fucking scam. It's a bourgeois scam. It's made to extract wealth from the working class. So, if you have a landlord, tell them they're fired. That they need to get a job for real. No, but really, I mean, when you spend like 70% of your salary in paying for your apartment, it's like, fuck that shit. That's not realistic. That's fucked up. Your landlord is a fucking parasite. When you build a building, and you build a building with several flats or whatever, apartments, call it. When you build something, and you finish building it, it stays there. It does nothing. It performs no good or services. It just is. The good, let's say the service, the good is the building, yeah. But once it's there, it's just there. It sits there. So paying monthly for something that sits there and does nothing is absurd philosophically. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah, as you say, river ransom is extracting value from places to live. So gross, right? It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Yeah. So, and when you build a building or something, yeah, there's a lot of labor that is super valuable, construction workers, and there's a lot of materials that are used. But once that value is fulfilled, and any other good, if you buy if you buy a guitar, and you play your guitar, and you sell it secondhand, you sell it cheaper than you bought it. But in the case of real estate, it's not the case. It always goes up. It always goes up. And it's fabricated. It doesn't have to be like that. It is like that because they fucking say so. So, considering all the surplus value that they've been extracted from that real estate, you gonna show me something, Dennis? Yes. Let's see. I'm gonna copy it into this window and show it for everybody else. No. Which, by the way, yeah. Rest in power, by the way. But yeah. Yep. Chuck Muddy, who's justice journalist, cool. But you know what I'm saying is, like, when you sell something in secondhand, it never raises value. So considering all the surplus value that they've been stealing, to expropriate them is not far off. It's actually falls a little bit short. But, as Hugo Chavez says, expropiase all the way. Expropriation, it's a must in the revolution. Yeah, I think most revolutionaries do some expropriation to some extent. So anyway, fascism in DC in AM thread. This arrest should scare all. Feds raid home of DC protester at their home and issue arrest warrant with 4 a.m. deadline to turn themselves in. They are one of 14 protesters first attacked by local DC police and then illegally kettled, arrested. Wow. And they handcuff, at their home, motherfuckers. Well, it's not an apartment building though.
You walking around through the
Okay,
alley?
that's.
We got to. We ain't gonna try to do. Okay.
Should we leave as well?
Pieces of shit. 1312. 1312.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented indeed. Yeah, no, it's okay, it's yeah.
This is America.
Well, America is a continent, but I hear you. It's the United States.
You be safe.
You need to be safe. Use your hands.
At their home, motherfuckers. At their home. Okay.
We got kettled after they tear gassed us and rubber bulleted us with no warnings to leave. The group that I was with was trying to slowly back out, and we ended up getting kettled inside. They're accusing me right now of assault on an officer and inciting a riot. The U.S. Marshals showed up at my house with a warrant for my arrest and then gained a search warrant while they were waiting for my entire apartment. So my apartment is trashed and I'm facing an eviction notice and yeah.
What do you mean facing an eviction notice?
There's a clause in my lease that my landlord put in that somewhere along the line that if something like this happens, he can evict for any reason.
Oh, so if someone's arrested, then they could be evicted.
Yeah.
Whether it's falsely arrested, they
yeah.
could falsely arrest you, and then it doesn't
Yeah.
make a difference.
We actually, somebody heard him say to one of the neighbors, immediate eviction. So.
Wow, and then do you have other people living in the home?
Yeah, I have a partner and a roommate.
Okay. And to my understanding, their phones were taken or something?
So when the U.S. Marshals came in, they weren't allowed to have access to any of their electronics. They were trying to get a digital warrant. Apparently there's a difference between a physical warrant and a digital warrant. They were not able to get the digital warrant, so my roommates got all of their electronics back. But they did hold them for the entire day.
Wow. Between the abusive police and the abusive landlord, who is more abusive? Expropiase. Expropriate, expropriate, expropriate. Who is this landlord? Who is this landlord? Where does this landlord live? Does this landlord hypothetically combust? I don't know. We'll find out. They're accusing me right now of assault on an officer and inciting a riot. The U.S. Marshal showed up at my house without a warrant. My apartment is trashed and facing eviction notice. Yeah, that's what we just heard in the video. Interview 15 minutes before they, correct pronoun, turned themselves in before 4 a.m. So yeah. Okay, so they had to turn them. Oh, what the fuck? This is absolutely linked to the letter Muriel Bowser wrote to the U.S. attorney. I don't think just the 14 are vulnerable. August 13 kettle arrest. I think the 40 people arrested in August 14 kettle are vulnerable. Yeah, we're trying to. They tried to kettle us in another protest in Spain recently, and they couldn't. They are now changing the charges to get anything to stick. So they're really grasping at straws, these motherfuckers. But they still commit the aggression, you know. This is very, very messed up, as you very well point out.
This is absolutely linked to the letter that Muriel Bowser wrote to the U.S. attorney. Yeah. They're trying to recharge people with more accurate things so that way they can actually get something to stick. So I don't even think that just the 14 are vulnerable to this. I think the 40 people that were arrested outside Adams Morgan's are just as
vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable.
And you believe it, as you're saying, it's a response to Mayor Bowser imploring the U.S. District Attorney?
Yeah.
To have harsher charges?
No, to have more, honestly, because I think felony of rioting was probably too vague. And so since they kept peddling the people that they couldn't stick it to, they're now changing the charges to try and get anything to stick.
Okay, so the new specific charge is what?
My new specific charge is inciting a riot and assault on a police officer.
Right.
Which is really funny because I never hit anybody.
Yeah, and they make up whatever charges they want. They just yeah, they get you. So the federal says, is this what they are charging you with this time? This time, Fed charges you urged by DC Mayor include using any fireworks that night to individually charge assault of an officer. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Trained, armed motherfuckers really being hurt by fireworks? That's arbitrary. That is arbitrary. That is not becoming of any public office. Anyone who is even a tiny bit responsible, that is absolute targeting. That is targeting. Felony riot charge is now switched to more stickable. Inciting a riot. Inciting. Yeah, inciting.
And this is what they're charging you with. The bold is the summary of all that. So I don't know if this was the original before, but this is what it is this time. The date of the warrant. You're going to get a copy of this. The date of the warrant and the judge's signature. And then the date that it was put into the computer system. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, don't want to be called Sergeant Bundy now.
What absolute pieces of shit. I would say, it's defund the police is fantastic. But it wouldn't hurt, considering the pandemic, considering the abusiveness in general, considering it's conceptually absurd as a concept, Conceptually means that as a concept. It's conceptually absurd to extract wealth from something that is sitting there doing nothing. And considering how they abuse with these clauses, these abusive clauses, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have a worldwide movement to crack down on landlords. Mostly on landlords that have like more than 2 or 3 properties. Landlords who are companies of their own doing. Landlords who own entire buildings. Even investment firms like, let's say, Blackstone and stuff like that, who are doing so much harm to so many communities using real property. That's a form of aggression, using property as aggression. Using private property as a form of collective aggression. That is absolutely... That's a fucking crime. Even when it's not on the legal system. That is something that qualifies as criminal behavior. It's criminal behavior. Yeah, the investment firms are the big problem. I agree. Yeah, but, even like that, smaller landlords also do a lot of harm. It's just that they don't do it at a systemic level. But, yeah.
Right now, I'm facing an assault on a police officer, which is something that I never did. As far as I know, they're trying to say that I punched a police officer in the chest, which, again, I did not. And I'm facing charges, and I'm currently looking for legal support. For me and for everybody who's been out here. Right now, we have been on the front lines and trying to fight this fight for justice, because obviously a lot needs to change. But they're targeting us and not making it easy for us to do that. And so right now, all I'm asking is for people to maybe find a way to help us if they have it. We need funds to be able to have legal support for us. They are personally targeting us. I know multiple people who have been personally targeted from just protesting and being out here and having a voice, and they're trying to stifle that, and we cannot let them.
Okay, this is egregious. This is absolutely egregious. They're not dropping the charges even when they're demonstrably false. So what these individual actors promoting these actions are doing is actually abusing the system. That there has to be some accountability towards these actors. Whoever is in charge of doing this operation, whoever is in charge needs to be held accountable. These people are being harmed when they've done nothing but protest legally. So I'm gonna share this GoFundMe, so hopefully people with more money than I have, because I'm so fucking broke anyway. This is fucked up. This is very fucked up. This is very fucked up. Thanks for sharing this with me, by the way. This is abusing a system to do harm to specific individuals, so they make examples so other people get scared and don't protest, don't exercise the legal human right of protesting against things that are unjust, that are unfair, that are openly, obviously wrong, like the police systemically murdering black people in the United States of America, which is a declining empire that's falling apart. And it's, those of us who are watching from outside are probably, quietly enjoying it with a guilty sense of knowing that also, which sucks, a lot of people are suffering. All I can say to our comrades in the United States is just stay safe. Be safe, please. Be safe. Don't get harmed. Don't get more harmed. And change things around. Use this crisis to build a revolution. Keep organizing, keep strengthening those bonds. And as I said before, and I'm gonna probably wrap it up with this, I'm gonna probably wrap it up with this. But as I said before, do that revolution that we need with those values that we have, those good values, that are away from the shitty capitalist homo homini lupus bullshit from capitalism, based on mutual aid, on solidarity, based on empathy, based on making everybody's life better, leaving no one behind. Which, by the way, I prepared this thing and I haven't used it because we've been talking politics all the way. But I hope this makes a lot of sense. Hello. I hope it makes sense. So good people, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up saying, okay, stay safe. Be good to each other. Please be excellent to each other. And let's make that revolution happen. Let's break away from capitalism in our own localities, in our own tempo, with our people. The sooner the better. But no, I'm not a Twitch anything, to be honest. I'm just here. Don't worry about it. And, be excellent to each other. Love the shit out of each other. And shitty people, they will learn their lessons when their time comes, okay? And, have a good one. No pasarán. And we're gonna raid, actually, someone. But no pasarán.